Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Pastor Irma Berry Scott with the Truth Uncensored on tonight. We are back, we are back, we are back. We missed last month. I think everybody was tired and we all forgot. Uh, uh, these second Wednesdays be coming up real quick on us. But we are glad to be back on tonight with the Truth Uncensored. We still have Bishop Keith Cox with us. Bishop, you want to greet the people on tonight?
Amen. Thank God for everyone being here. I praise God for my here being. I'm excited about what we're going to be discussing tonight and gaining relevant and intimate information that we need to be progressive and to be understanding as to what's happening around us in the church. So I'm excited for our special guest, Dr. Lewis, being here tonight. So let's look forward to hearing from her.
All right, all right. Um, we also have we know him as Pastor Sean McKinney, but since we have been away from each other, he is now
Yes,
Dr. Sean McKinney. We
yes,
we are so proud of his accomplishment to have some letters in front of his name now.
yes,
Doctor,
man.
that's a great accomplishment, and we are all so proud of you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Sean. You want to
Thank
greet the
you.
people on tonight?
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back here again. I'm glad to be on with everybody. Again, this is Sean, Pastor Sean, and y'all already know what it is. I'm just glad to be in the number, and I think we have my friend, my sister. We have the great pastor, apostle, Doctor Lewis in here. You know, she don't want me to call it, but we're glad to have her in. I hope that everybody gets something from what we're going to do tonight with Mental Health Awareness Month. So we hope that what she says will bring to the table is used for some good tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody has alluded to our special guest on tonight. Uh, um, um, our very own Cherie Justiano is working tonight, so she's not with us. But we do have a special guest on tonight. We are so grateful and so humbled that she squeezed us in her busy schedule. The Truth Uncensored. We welcome with us tonight Natasha Lewis. We thank God for her on tonight. Natasha, would you like to greet the people?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I pray that you all are doing well. I am truly excited and honored to be a part of this discussion tonight. And I look forward to just collaborating with you guys and sharing and learning and just, connecting the way God intended for us to do. So I'm excited about being here. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're so glad that you are with us on tonight. Tonight, if we understand this month, the month of May, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And how fitting it is to have this subject on tonight. We will be talking about mental health in the church. We talk about mental health on the job, how our jobs stress us out, mental health in the family, how our family can stress us out. We have mental health in all kinds of vocational places, but we don't talk about mental health in the church. Wherever people are, uh, there's a way or a avenue of mental health issues
Mhm.
Yeah,
because there are people, Lord have mercy. So where people are, the brain is a instrument, it's an organ, and it can misfire at times. We can go through challenges in our brain as well. So we're gonna get talking tonight. I'm gonna try not to talk too much, but I can get passionate about this. Y'all know
come
Pastor
on.
Irma. could go on some tangents at times. Um, but we want to talk about the importance of mental health amongst not just churchgoers, but Black people in general, people in general. We all go through some kind of mental crisis at one time or another. So we are apt to take care of our physical health. We don't feel well. Guess what? What do? We go to the doctor. We take care of sugar, but diabetes. We take care of
Mm-hmm.
heart failure. We take care of lupus or whatever disease we have. But when we are depressed, or when we feel lonely, or when we feel things that are not they can manifest physically, but mental issues, we don't seem to take care of that like we do our physical bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, Dr. Natasha, I have a question first.
Okay.
What is the difference between mental illness and mental health?
Okay. Thank you for asking that question first. One of the clear things that we have to understand is that so often people will categorize mental health as mental illness. And we have to understand that there's a difference between the two. In understanding, you have different organs, as you said earlier. Those organs have their own sense of health. They have specialists, they have doctors associated with it. The what is it? The foot doctor is the podiatrist. The help me out here. The eye doctor is the optometrist.
Mm-hmm.
You have the renal doctors. You have all of the different doctors for different parts and different organs.
Cardiologist.
And so when you're looking at it, health is wealth. And so in mental health, it is just the maintenance of making sure that that particular organ is operating correctly. And so when we look at mental health alone is just another organ, the brain. It's just another member of the body that has health needs and health supports. And just like with any other body part, any other ailment that you deal with in your body, when it's not managed properly, then it turns into what? It turns into an illness. And so, in understanding that, people oftentimes take, I'm not feeling well. I've got mental health, but it truly sometimes doesn't transition into an illness until we get to the point where we're not properly managing it. Someone that can be overworked, overwhelmed, they are needing some relaxation and some rest, and they continue in that vein, and they never get the time away. They never get a break. They never get a vacation. Well, now it's become a disorder. Now it's become an ailment that they need professional support for. A lot of things that we deal with health wise, if we manage it properly, the doctor tells you eat right, walk, exercise, do all of these things to make sure that you're maintaining your body. It's the same thing along with your brain. You have to make sure that you are managing it properly, getting the right amount of sleep, making sure that you're eating the right foods, making sure that you're staying in stress-free environments. And if you are, then finding those ways to remove yourself so that you can manage your health, manage your mind. When we don't do that and things get worse and they continue to process, just like with any other body part, that brain can start to get ill. And when that brain starts to get ill, then we're looking at things called disorders. We're looking at things, you're looking at what was once depression now become depressive disorder. What once was just anxiety became anxiety disorder. What once became one thing, now it is transitioned into a total illness that now needs to be medicated, just like any other organ in the body.
Wow. All right. What a great synopsis, amen, of the difference, because a lot of people don't understand there is a difference between just regular mental health and mental illness. I look at mental illness as well as schizophrenia or bipolar, those type of issues. I call it civil, but when you have multiple personalities, uh, uh, those are mental illnesses. So thank you
Mhm.
for clarifying that, because I think it's important. So when we discuss, we don't be all over the place. We understand what we're talking about when we're discussing mental health in the church.
Right.
Everybody does not have a disorder, but they got some mental issues.
Yes.
Does that make sense? All
Mhm.
right.
Yes.
Pastor Sean, do you have anything to start us off talking?
Well, I want to skip all the way down to, I guess, I'm gonna say chapter 6, in her book, in spiritual warfare and systematic trauma.
And this is her book.
Yeah.
Dr. Natasha does have a book. Um, the battle we misunderstood. Um, and we're going to talk about this much more tonight. Come on, Dr. Sean.
It says, I think she started, are we facing a spiritual attack, or are we dealing with wounds inflicted by people, circumstances, or systematic injustice? Spiritual warfare is a biblical reality, but so is the pain caused by human brokenness and social systems. I'm gonna start by that. A lot of times I'm asking because a lot of times we confuse, like you said, mental illness with a, I think you said one track was possessions or demonic, or it might have been demonic or something like that. But sometimes they really have a mental issue they have not
Mm-hmm.
been checked or dealt with. I think we talking about this in leadership right now. For us, um, people have things going on that will flow over into ministry, and because I said the root of the matter, what it could be, is something.
Uh-oh. Pastor Sean, we just lost you. Okay. Well, till he comes back, come on, Bishop Cox. Hopefully we can get him back soon.
Yes, because he went into an area that I had a question about. A lot of times, in the there he goes. You back,
Okay.
Pastor?
Yeah,
Um,
we got you back.
We got you back.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear Pastor?
Can you hear us? Okay, he trying.
Can you hear Pastor?
I can't hear.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear.
Go back out and come back
Uh,
again. Okay, he trying.
mm,
Can you hear Pastor?
I can't hear.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear.
Go back out and come back again.
Okay.
Okay, he trying.
Yeah, you got to start over.
Okay.
Okay. God, now I lost my train of thought. I was a lot of times when you encounter people who have mental illnesses, disorders in the church, it gets classified as a demon a lot of times. But and we all know it's not always a demon. Sometimes there have been encounters. There have been trauma in the past. How do you speak to that when you're put on the spot among those who believe something totally opposite from what that you've been educated in and have a great understanding about?
Thank you for asking that question. So one of
I
the
don't know.
things
I
that
can't hear.
can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Dr. Lewis.
You can't hear me now.
Okay,
I can't.
Bishop, maybe you need to go back out and come back in.
Can you hear me, Pastor Irma?
Hold on a second.
Uh-huh, I can hear you.
I can hear you too. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Uh-huh, we can hear you, Sean.
Okay. So how about I just start talking, and then we can, when everybody gets together, then we can reframe. So one of the biggest things that I think that we have to understand as leaders, as parishioners, as brothers and sisters in Christ, is that the church specializes in what it specializes in. This is a spiritual realm for healing, hope, development, all of those things. Can y'all
Okay,
hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
So one of the biggest things that I think that starts the problem, that creates the problem for the church, is that there is, number one, a stigma as it relates to how church folk feel about mental health. And also, number two, leadership tends to, especially in the deliverance places and arenas, they almost have to are appeared as being superheroes, that they're able to deliver, cast out, set free everything. But there are some things that we have to understand, that when I like to call it a repeated person that's continually dealing with the same problem, and they can appear to be a demon, they can appear to be so many different things, and they keep coming back to the altar for the same thing. Well, then you have to explore additional options. And it doesn't mean that the leader, the person, the pastor, the preacher doesn't have they don't have that gift, they don't have that ability. It's just that there's something more that's happening there. And so we have to be sensitive enough to recognize this is not spiritual, and
Mm-hmm.
having the level of discernment to understand that this is not spiritual. And sometimes we can not know enough about a person to even dig deep enough to recognize what's happening. And so sometimes we get people that just come to us, they laid stuff out on us and things like that. And one of our number one questions is have you sought help? Laying hands and touching somebody and Jesus, sometimes that's not enough. People leave the church and they're still broken, they're still wounded, and they tend to like the idea of being able to blame God. Their pastor wasn't able to do it, I'm still feeling the same, and all of these things. When no, the reality is that you're dealing with something that's actually deeper than what the church is qualified to address. Because now we're talking about different things that have been passed down genetically. We're talking about trauma that you dealt with in your life. We're talking about several different areas that you've experienced that has caused an illness to be present in your life that needs to be managed. That health area needs to be managed so that if there is a combination of both, then they both can be managed within the arenas that they need to be managed in. Meaning the doctor is going to take his part and take care of your physical health, and the pastor is going to take their part and they're going to manage your spiritual health. And so those things need to be combined, and not just all of this responsibility is placed in one place, in one church. And that's what causes confusion in the church. That's what causes chaos in the church, because sometimes that person in the church that's causing all the drama, that's causing all the mess, is somebody that's suffering from being hurt, someone that's suffering from trauma, someone that's suffering from abuse, molestation, all of those different things. And they are using and masking the church as a place that they can look and appear to be whole, but when at the end of the day, the mental illness and the mental issues that they're dealing with is going to start to reveal itself in a safe environment. And they have to cover these things up, and they bring these things in the church, and you're trying to figure out, how is it that this one person has caused chaos in the church? How is it this one person just broke up a whole team? Because that person is dealing with something that they can no longer mask anymore behind the church, because it's going to come out wherever they are. And it runs deeper than just it being a demon. It runs deeper than it just being something.
Absolutely.
Because I've recognized that even some people that have gotten the level of support, the help, and the medication that they needed, guess what? All of a sudden, there's no demon. They're at peace. They're at rest. They're making friends. They're maintaining relationships. They're doing all of these things. And so, was it the demon? Did the demon just all of a sudden jump up and run away, or was it something that they were actually dealing with mentally? And I found that when you exhaust yourself and you do your part as a leader, I found that when you do that and they are still dealing with the same issues, then dig deeper. It doesn't mean that God isn't present. It doesn't mean that God isn't real. It doesn't mean that God doesn't have the power. Let's look at it from a different lens and let the professionals manage it in those areas.
Absolutely. I believe that it is the church's responsibility to work together with professional counselors or psychiatrists or whomever it needs to be, just like you work with a heart specialist. We tell the people to go to the doctor when they got high blood pressure. We tell people to go to the doctor when they can't see and see about your eyes. We work together with the medical profession instead of fighting mentally. You explained it perfectly in the beginning about mental illness and mental health. We need to work together with those who are in those professions instead of fighting against them. We thank God for the power to deliver and set free, but that's not always in order.
Mm.
You're
Um,
right. And not all the time does it happen that way. And then because there's such a stigma about mental health, nobody wants to hear is something wrong with my mind. Everybody
Right.
wants to blame the
Mhm.
devil for everything. And the devil's been on vacation in your life because you're doing it all to yourself. He doesn't even have to
Mhm.
bother you. He's not even worried about you because you got it under control. You already got your ticket directed towards hell. He doesn't even have to come in on the scene at all. You're doing it all to yourself. And so we want to blame everything on him. We want to put it on this person. We want to put it on that person. And everybody's the reason why. When the reality is
Yes.
sometimes that we have to tell people the truth.
Truth.
There's something
Yes.
else going on here. And this is
Mhm.
beyond the scope of the church because you have wreaked havoc in the church and
Mm.
you have definitely you bringing so much chaos. We were at peace until you got here. And it's like, how can
Mm.
one person how
Mhm.
can one person bring so much chaos to something that was strong? It's because they're dealing with something more powerful. And it's in the mind.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sean, did you have something else to say?
No,
Since
I'm just
you
listening.
got cut
I'm just
off.
listening. It's okay. I'm listening. She covered it for me. I'm listening right now because sometimes you got to deal with like you said, tell the truth about a
I
situation.
can't hear him
And
at all.
oh Lord,
Do you have to go back out and come in again?
Bishop say you can't hear me at all. Can you hear me? Can Natasha? Can
Yeah,
she hear
I
me?
can hear
we can hear
you.
you.
I can hear everybody.
I can hear everybody too. Oh Lord. As soon as he go out, he gonna
I
call
can't
me.
hear Sean.
Oh Lord.
Mhm.
Um,
Go back out. Go back
go
out.
me.
Who,
No.
me? Oh, Sean.
Yes,
Okay.
Bishop, since you can't hear, everybody else can hear.
Yeah. But yes. I just feel like it.
They froze.
What is going on tonight? Time Warner is not cooperating. Spectrum is cutting up tonight. Maybe
It's
we
cutting
need to
up.
cast these devils out of the technology tonight. Uh,
Now, this is a
I
devil. This ain't mental illness here
yeah,
tonight.
yeah. I see two Bishop Cox.
Yeah,
What?
we had two
Oh,
of
there
them
we
a
go.
second ago.
Hello.
okay,
You
I
don't
removed
need but
one of them.
one.
Oh my God. No, I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I don't know what is going on tonight with Spectrum.
Let's go back out.
I can't hear nothing now.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep on talking about mental illness, Dr. Natasha, because I think the people are really concerned and they are talking back to us on screen tonight about mental health. It is
Okay.
it is a necessary discussion because I think we all understand, we all know someone in the church.
Let me go back.
We may say it under our breath, there's something wrong with them or whatever, but nobody takes the time to talk to them to find out the underlying reasons they act the way they act. Um, okay, Bishop, how many times you coming on?
I
All right.
can't hear.
Can't hear you.
And I
We
think that I'll just start talking because you want me to help
yes,
you, Pastor
please.
Irma. Okay, but I think that one of the key things is people understand what they're dealing with, and the fact that people understand what they deal with, because of some of the culture in not all the churches, because a lot of the churches now are stepping into another realm of embracing mental health and having a mental health ministry in the church, but there are other churches that are still struggling in those areas and are now learning to bring those things in because now when we come to church, it's designed that you're in a culture of pretend, and that's in my book in chapter 2. But the culture of pretend, what do they tell you? They claim it before you get it, and don't say it, and you better not speak it into existence. And we say all of these things, and we tell them to, no matter what's going on, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're facing, you're supposed to declare and decree something else. And so you're never able or afforded the opportunity in the environment based off the culture of the church to be able to say, I'm hurting, I'm being abused, I'm still dealing with grief, I'm still dealing with sorrow, because the church's aspect is you don't speak it, you don't claim it, you don't put it in the atmosphere, because if you do, then you're just accepting it, and that's what you're going to be. But I believe that we have to change from the culture of pretend and stop forcing people to clap through a heartbreak, serve through sadness, and preach while they're privately falling apart. That person in the church, that person that's crying, that person that's going through may not be struggling with the fact that they're dealing with the Spirit of the Lord is upon them at that present time. That person could be crying because they're feeling like today is their last day. And sometimes we have to be able to learn the level of discernment as it relates to leaders, as it relates to the ministry team, the altar workers, all of those things, and be able to recognize that we have to open the door, open the room, allow the opportunity to come for the conversation of people actually telling you what's really going on.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, they're able to tell you, and you're able to then kind of understand, what are we praying for? Not only what are we praying for, but how can I get you the help? We pray for people, but how often do we follow up with what we prayed about? Because
Amen.
tomorrow they wake up with the same problem. Wednesday, they still have the same issue. And then we look on the Facebook post or Instagram or TikTok, and they're crashing out and saying something out of order. And we want to correct them, and we want to say something to them. But did we follow up to see if that prayer that we prayed was effective enough to get them to the next place? No, because sometimes they need more than just your prayer. They need the professional guidance and assistance. And sometimes, that's right, I'm going to say it as a preacher, sometimes they do need medication.
Yes.
Exactly.
And if we can take that medication, we got children in school that are struggling right now because, well, I don't want to put them on medication. Well, a lot of times the same person that says they don't want to put them on medication is smoking all the weed they can smoke and drinking all the drink that they can drink, and you're self-medicating yourself, and your child is suffering in the classroom setting and getting labeled, getting all kinds of different plans placed on their life that's going to carry them throughout school, but you won't get them the help that they need and the support that they need so that they can be successful. And instead of you making sure that they're successful, you're designing the future for them, and they're struggling with mental health issues.
Absolutely.
And
how do we get the church to broaden?
There is so much that's available out here. There are books that are available. There's an integration between psychology and Christianity. There are different, there's a mental health first aid. It's just like a first aid kit. And it will come in and it will teach a team of people, just like what's in a first aid kit. Your first aid kit is not the hospital. It's not the ER. It's not any of those things, but it is a temporary fix to patch up an area to get you to the place that you need to be in. And so we have to make sure, thank you, Adrian, that we're creating a safe environment that people want to talk. They want to tell the truth, and they don't feel like they have to hide behind the truth. And if they're saying what's really going on, then they have an issue with their faith. They have an issue with their believability in God. They have an issue with trusting in God because I'm still dealing with this. Some preachers are offended when they say, well, I didn't feel nothing happened for me. They get offended by that. And so people are afraid to say, well, I'm still going through this. I'm still struggling with this. I cried all night long and God didn't help me. He didn't show up for me. These are things, real life things that we don't, that once they leave the church, we never get the opportunity to go back and follow up and hear from them. And so I think it's important that we have that space, that ministry, those groups of people that can go in and recognize what's going on, get the help and the supports in place. And not only that, collectively as a team, make sure that we're monitoring, supporting, and advocating for each and every individual that may be suffering from mental illness.
That is so profound. Our follow up in the church gets an F.
Yes.
Seriously, we pray for people at the altar, but does anybody go back the next week and say, how are you? If things progress, what's a report? What's the report? We don't follow up with people, so they go back and then they don't have any support. They don't have anything, and they out there floundering in the water by themselves. I think that is so important, Dr. Lewis, that you brought that up, because follow up is important. We follow up when people come and give their life to Christ. We all get that discipleship card, and have somebody call them. You still saved.
You get that tithing envelope.
Absolutely. But are we following up after prayer? Are we following up when someone talks to us and says, I'm grieving? Are we following up to see if they're progressing? So I think people who are listening on today, that's something to take back to your church, take back to your pastors, having follow up after prayer. Ain't no use in praying if we don't have the testimony afterwards that God did deliver. I'm trying not to talk too much, Natasha. Please help me.
Listen, I'm trying not to talk too much either. You know that I'm a talker. So it's important that we have confession, connection, and then healing. Because if a person can't say the reality, because what do we say when we see somebody? How you doing? I'm blessed and highly favored.
Highly favored.
What that mean?
That is so. It's so. Sometimes we're just highly lying, and the truth is that because we are taught you have to say it like that. That's the response, and nobody's allowed to do these things, and so you have so many people that suffer in silence because nobody wants to say I'm not okay, and the look isn't always good to say I'm not okay. I'm stressed because sometimes people don't want to hear it. Because then it becomes an issue of, well, did you trust God? Did you pray about it? They tell you all the time, pray about it. I'm going through, pray about it. Put it on the altar, lay it before the Lord. Well, I did that, and I've been doing that for the past 6 months, and I'm still dealing with the same issues. So is it something wrong with my prayer life? Is it something wrong with my God? Or is it something wrong with my mind?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'll be transparent. For 8 years after my divorce, I went through a depression. Nobody came to me and asked me, Irma, how you do? I was still functioning. I went to work. I went to church. I was still preaching, but I was depressed. I couldn't even take care of my son. My mother was taking care of my son. After church, I would go to bed. Couldn't do anything else after work or after church. Just go to bed. But nobody checked on me. What about the follow up in prayer? Nobody checked on me. Are you all right mentally? How's it going being single after being married? These things are important. It shows care. I think somebody said putting up a safe environment. We got to be safe people so people can feel safe around us.
That's it. That's it.
To help with the mental issues. If I felt safe around somebody, I probably would have talked to somebody and say, look, I need some help. But again, Dr. Lewis, you talked about the atmosphere, the environment. You're supposed to be a preacher. Pick your own self up by the bootstraps. You know, and I suffered 8 years of that until a prayer of real deliverance came through. All right, Bishop.
I'm gonna say this, and it might ruffle a few feathers, but the church has never been challenged to be real. And we do a lot of praying, we do a lot of singing, we do a lot of shouting. I am a supporter, I am a participant in all of it. But the bottom line is, if we are not real and authentic in what we do, we are simply wasting time.
Yes.
So if I'm going to preach a word of deliverance, if I'm going to pray a prayer of deliverance, then the expectation should be, I do my part to give out, You do your part to receive. We come together to make sure we are on the right pathway. And if we're not on the right pathway, then what is it that needs to happen to bring resolution to this problem? But the church has never gone, as you say, we don't follow up. We feel like just because Apostle so-and-so said it, it's done. Lies you tell. It don't work like that. Because sometimes you can hear, I'll be the first one to say, I've had people pray over me for different things. I go back and sit down to that won't nothing, because that just wasn't it. We don't like to say that because that's somebody's daddy. That's somebody's mama. And that's going to make them feel bad. But what has to happen, and I don't want to talk too long because I can go there with you. If the church would go back to having authentic power, the power will not just let you lay hands, but it will give you spiritual insight on what to say, who to send that person to, who to make a referral for. The Holy Ghost will help you do that. The Holy Ghost is not only going to keep your dress down, it will help you to get your antennas up to understand that, hey, this person needs this for their deliverance. It might be a bottle of Ritalin. It might be a doctor's appointment. It may be a short 2-day vacation. But the Holy Ghost will give you the insight as to what to do, not just to lay a greasy hand, but to give an authentic answer to that problem. And we've got to expand our thinking and the way we portray the church. We portray it as just one way of doing something. But there's more than one way to help somebody. There's more than one way to minister to somebody. And if you're not capable of doing certain things, the same Holy Ghost will direct you who to call. The same one. It will help you to be effective in what you do so you can make an impact. You can't make an impact when you don't know what you need to do or how you need to do it or what you're dealing with. I'm just like everybody else. Everything is not a demon. Everything is not a demon. It might look like that, and that's because your expertise and your exposure is limited. So therefore, you don't know how to make a good diagnosis. So you diagnose something you see based upon what you learned on TV. But when you have been in certain arenas and certain areas, you kind of know that the Lord will give you as exactly what you need to do. And it's not an indictment on you. It is not an indictment. But you should be proud to say, I'm in a place that I can help somebody. I can send you over. I can send you down the street to the doctor. I can call in somebody that maybe can minister to you. I'm like Pastor Irma. When I had gotten divorced, I'm like, man, I just cannot believe this has happened. This has happened to me. But at the time, there was one person that came along, and it was Pastor Irma's godmother. I never forget. We went to church that night, and she wrapped her arms around me, and something broke in me. But that was what I needed. I didn't need a bottle of medicine. I didn't need any of that. I knew what I needed, and I was in a place to get what I needed. Sometimes we have to help people get in the place so they can get what they need, and not what you have used for your problem. I've got to stop talking. Go ahead, Dr. Lewis.
No, I'm
holler.
Oh Lord, I get the organs going if we need to. But you're so right. And one of the I think that sometimes the church does mishandle leadership, and they mishandle divorce. People that are experiencing divorce. I do think that they do that because it's an expectation that you're better, you're free, and you should be okay. But what they don't realize is the reality of a person that's dealing with divorce is actually dealing with a death. That they actually grieve, as if a person has died. And so there's a level of sensitivity that we have to be on. And not only that, but just grief all along. I think that the church needs to make sure that we are doing more follow-ups when people experience grief. Just because the dirt is now on the casket does not mean that the pain ends. And so we have to make sure that we are helping to manage that, and we are not putting people in a place of expectation that you get over things and that you're going to be all right. Because I can cast the spirit out of you, and this is so good. I can cast the spirit out of you, but after I cast the spirit out of you and you've gotten a level of deliverance, you still have to heal from what it took you through. And that's where there are going to be other layers of support. The pastor can lay hands on you, but you don't talk to the pastor. You ain't got the pastor's phone number. You know, and the pastor's not specializing in that. They specialize in getting whatever off of you. But now you need those steps. You need those next points of healing and restoration. And sometimes it's going to take even more to get you to those levels of restoration. Pastor Irma, has she gotten a little bit more support? Those 8 years that she suffered in silence and nobody checked on her, they expected her to show up. They expected her to continue to preach. They expected her to continue to produce day in and day out while she was bleeding out and could have just lost it completely. But she maintained a level of strength that other people aren't able to do. And everybody's not on the same level as you are. What you can overcome sometimes can be the next person's a means for committing suicide. What you can manage can be the other person's total breakdown. And so we have to understand that everybody doesn't heal the same way or on the same levels. And we have to make sure that we're following up. We've got to make sure that we're understanding and that we're compassionate and we're open for conversation, and not just people that have to wear masks and they have to show up and be something and not be able to actually be real and open about what they're dealing with, and understanding that the wound, sometimes we can actually make a wound that someone is dealing with. The church can make it worse. We can cause them to bleed out. We can cause them to be even more damaged, because what? We will shame them. We will rebuke them.
Absolutely.
The church will manipulate them, and we will provide unrealistic expectations to people and cause them and they will feel like they are forced to do certain things. And instead of them being restored, replenished, and renewed, instead of them getting to the place that they need to be, they're trying to maintain a standard and trying to show a face, when at the end of the day, they're dealing with so many different things that nobody knows how to address and nobody's willing to address.
Absolutely. That's where compassion comes in. So many people think that super spiritual, but still lack compassion.
That's it.
People are hurting. People are going through, and we just think everybody is supposed to be on the same level. Just because you've been saved 40 and 50 years and you done been through this, everybody has not had the same experience or don't have the same strength that you have. So we got to be compassionate on a level where people's mental health is really uplifted, encouraged, protected. That's a good word. We got to protect one another's mental health in the church. We got to be safe places. Sean, we ain't heard from you in a minute.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was trying to say, she said something in that coach period. It's like, it's not that we don't trust God, it's that we don't always trust his people. And that's something that I feel like we are. I'm gonna say I'm a product. Used to say I'm a product of religion, because when I was hurting and I was being used for whatever my gift was, but they could not help me outside of that and going to the part of, well, I'm dealing with depression, or I'm dealing with feeling unwanted and stuff like that. So nobody wanted to deal with that part, but I was always still being used in ministry for other things and still hurting in the process of still functioning hurt. And I said, hurt people all the time. And I was just reading it. I learned how to clap through heartbreak, serve through sadness, preach while properly unraveling. That's all true for me. I have us probably done did it too. I mean, some people I know done went through hell and high waters and still had to stand up in front of people as though nothing was wrong. I've noticed that I'm trying to create at Culture Worship a culture where we can actually move freely and a safe place for people to come in regardless what you got going on. I tell everybody I don't care what they got going on, just get them to the building so they can feel safe in the building where they're at. But I also have to and understanding that the ones I have in leadership have to be healed from what they are dealing with to be able to heal others. And because how can you heal before something that you suffer with too?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm in understanding what you're saying, Doctor, on Lewis, about all that stuff like that, because I'm definitely have been there in there and still dealing with certain things that understanding that as a pastor that I have to not only like deliver the demon or the spiritual. I always say it's no need for me to prophesy to you when I can't teach you how to keep what I prophesy to you about or how to get it. So it's like the same thing. I got to learn that our people have to be able to be healed and delivered at the same time before we actually be able to, outside of what we see in the physical, I mean, in the spiritual, can we deal with the physical problem that they have going on too in ministry? And I'm, like I said, I'm creating a place where you can come to and you get all what you need at the same time, but we got to deal with the behind the scenes from me on down through the leadership team too as well.
That's key, making sure that your team is all right. And it's okay to check on, you got to check on folks.
Yeah.
And sometimes the person that appears to be the strongest person can be the
Yes.
person that is suffering the most.
Suffering the most.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you have to create an atmosphere where people feel safe and comfortable, and not an atmosphere of, I need to know this, but just so that I can give everybody else your business. And then we have to remove the idea of the silent conversation. You know, they're
That's
crazy.
good.
You know, something wrong with them. I don't know what, you know, those things, because internally, our exhaustion with people that we're exposed to and people that we come around, our exhaustion removes a level of sensitivity. And when we start to spread that, it becomes massive to everybody. And so everybody's level of sensitivity is removed from an individual. And sometimes individuals in leadership can start this toxic idea and this toxic level of compassion towards a person. Yeah, they sure do. And now you got everybody ignoring this person, talking about this person. And now you've developed people discerning that this is how they feel about me. And now you have an individual that came to you for restoration, but instead of you restoring them, you damage them and you hurt them even the more. And instead of you helping me to heal, you gave me another cut, and you cut me in another area. You cut me in an area where I was vulnerable in an area that I was hoping to heal the other area. But now I'm bleeding in two spaces. I'm hurting in two different areas because I trusted you and you violated my trust. And we have to be very careful at how we address people's problems, because not all the time are issues that people dealing with. They're not something that people put upon themselves. It's not something they've chosen. It's not something, people don't ask to be raped. They don't ask to be molested as a child. They don't ask for their parents to neglect them. That's not something that is put upon you, but this is something called life. And so we have to be more compassionate and more coherent to what we're dealing with, and knowing that we have to create a culture that has patience. Oh my God, here that crazy woman come again. Oh Lord, that crazy man back at church again. And we allow that type of conversation to saturate the seats, the pulpit, the leadership teams. I've heard it before, and y'all know, y'all heard it before too. Here they come. Oh boy. And what does that do? That denies the person the compassion, that denies the person the opportunity, because now nobody wants to deal with it. So what happens to that person? They either stay and suffer in silence, or they leave and they go to another environment, and the cycle continues until they say, I'm not going to church again.
Absolutely.
So how do they deal? How would somebody come forth that's dealing with with problems like that in a church setting, like you said, with it privately or openly? Because how do they come forward to deal with that? Like, what would you say for a church to set up a system for somebody to come through that's suffering with problems like that? How would they go about talking to somebody to get the help that they needed? Everybody gonna come to you and talk to you. Everybody gonna do that. So I mean,
And I think
So,
that you have to start incorporating mental health ministry, and
okay,
that's the number one thing. You say we have a mental health ministry, and you start in the beginning parts of what the mental health ministry is. You want to first remove the stigma, and you don't want everybody to look at that. As a child, when I grew up, I didn't know a lot about mental health until I started working in it. But as a child growing up, there was a building and it had mental health on it. And so when I was growing up, I said, well, what's in that building right there? And everybody, all adults, not just
that's
my
the crazy
parents, but
people.
all adults would say, that's where the crazy people go.
Yeah,
And so that's the idea. When I heard mental health, is this is where all the crazy people go. So you dare not go in that building, because then you are crazy. You're on your way to getting the straight jacket. You're on your way to going in the hospital, and you're on your way to taking a whole bunch of medications to have you like a zombie. That's what I thought. That's what I believed. What I knew about mental health. And so we have to start to educate the people and retrain their ideas and their thought patterns on how they perceive mental health. And then once we do that, then you start to embrace it, because number one, the church is going to be the safest place for people that are struggling with mental health, because they don't want to go to the doctor. They came to you. And if you have that ministry in place, then you heighten the chances of them actually engaging in the support. You heighten that chance because they come to this church because they trust you and it's safe. And if it's in the church, then that changes the rate of believability about this can actually help me.
Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
we may not always be able to help them, but we can refer them to who
yeah,
can help them. Again, counseling is something we have to leave to the professionals. We can lead, we can guide, but when it comes to counseling, giving advice, or whatever, we have to leave that to the professionals for that. Um, uh, we don't want to be responsible for we give uh, inadequate care to somebody to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do that. So we want to lead them to the places where they can get what they need when we are unable to do that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because sometimes we can take on too much, and then because I know of instances where
Mm-hmm.
people have gone for counseling in church, and families end up suing the church because the counselors were was unable to prevent a suicide.
mm,
Y'all
Mm-hmm.
ain't go. These things are important. These things, you have a legal obligation, and we have a spiritual obligation to make sure that we are protecting people. Am I not right? Let me know if I'm wrong, Dr. Natasha.
No, we definitely got to protect people. And that's why when I say incorporate that ministry in your church, start sourcing. I think you, Pastor Sean, you got a counselor in your church.
yeah, I do.
She needs that. She needs a desk. She need a room. She need an office. She need office hours. She needs to be seeing folks. And okay, you're gonna go see her tomorrow. We're gonna schedule appointments for you and work out whatever got to be worked out. But it's gonna secure the health of your church. It's gonna
Yeah,
secure uh, and help work towards decreasing chaos and confusion and all of those things, because now they're getting the support they need. And when it's in house, it always makes things better. And even though the team may not be certified or licensed, you can, like I said, there's mental health first aid that everybody can get trained on, to know how to put a band-aid on it, band-aid on it, to get them the help that they need. Here's sister
mm,
so and so, go talk to her. I can talk you through it. Let me talk you off this ledge, but I'm not the professional. Let me get you to where you need to be. And then we're normalizing it, we're embracing it, we're having those mental health days, we're having those seminars, we're giving them resource lists. This is a trusted group of Christian counselors that we support, that we know, that we talk to, that we're entrusting to support our members. That those type of things, because there are some people, if the pastor tells them, they're gonna go with that. They ain't listening to nobody else. The pastor got it. They'll go to the doctor and tell the doctor
my
with
pastor said.
the whole degree. My pastor said, X, Y, and Z. And he like, Lord, keep my name out. They go to the school. My pastor said, and
Mhm.
so they go. So what you say has power and
It
it's
does.
effective in the
It
lives of
does.
our members. And so let's use that power that we have and stop rebuking everything and start restoring.
Mm.
Absolutely. Say that again. Stop rebuking
And
everything
start
and start
start
restoring.
restoring. Mm. That's good.
Let that sink in a little bit.
Mm.
Because we don't do enough restoring. All
Could you
right.
say? I got one question. Could you say pride is a mental issue?
I think it I think it definitely can develop into something. You got the narcissism and you got quite a few of them that pride is definitely connected to. And pride, God knows, Jesus help us. Help
Mhm.
us. I do think that I think it taps into so many different areas. Um, and we pride sometimes can cause avoidance. It can cause so many different things. And I think that, pride a lot of times starts with leadership. It doesn't start with the
Ooh,
person. It doesn't
that's
start
good.
with the person that's in need. It starts with the person that's in power. And
Mm.
like I said, many of them have the idea that they're superheroes. And when you think that you're a superhero and you can do it all, you will deny the realities of what you see and what you're dealing with. And you will constantly start to place blame on a person's faith. You'll start to place blame on a person's relationship. Well, what are you doing out at home? What are you doing outside of the presence of God? You'll start to connect their spirituality with something that they're dealing with mentally because of your own personal pride, instead of recognizing that this is a mental health issue and not a spiritual battle.
Mm. That's
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Dr. Natasha, I want to end with this. Um, Self care is so important, especially when we're dealing with mental health. Uh, we are being driven by the enemy. We just drive, we just go, and we do not uh, uh, um, protect our own mental health. We are driving, we are going so much, doing so much, extending ourselves so much that we don't care for our own selves. Slow down. Can you address us about self care and how important it is to our mental stability?
Absolutely. Yes. Self care is probably one of the most key instruments in preventing so many different things. You have to put you first at some point. We can have our hands in everything and do everything all over the place, but when we don't take care of ourselves, and self care can be reading the book, self care can be walking your dog, self care can be taking a bath and laying in that tub until the water gets cold and you become a raisin. Self
Mm,
care is doing that thing that takes you to a level of peace, takes you to that place where you forget about everything. Sometimes it's okay to turn off the phone, turn off the any electronics, any type of devices that will connect you to the outside world, and you focus on you and reconnecting with God. People do things like grounding. They walk. They do any type of thing that's going to what relaxes you and what gets you to that place. Because self care is also making sure that you get the proper amount of sleep.
mhm.
Mm.
Staying up and running and running and running, you're tearing your body apart. Sleeping is vital and it's important. And I don't care how many places you got to be and how much you're excelling, you're going to burn yourself out if you're not sleeping properly. Eating properly is also a part of self care, because what do we do? There's so, not me, but you have people that stress eat. And the next thing you know, the stress eating just caused how many other things now? Because when we stress eat, we're not stress eating carrots and broccoli and celery. We're stress eating the good stuff. the good stuff. Like I tell everybody, I don't snack, but if I'm gonna snack, I don't want something that's not gonna give me the feel good of I just got that
Yeah.
snack. So we have to know that all of these things start to cause other problems physically to other parts of our body when we're not taking care of just the brain alone. And so self-care is one of the best things, that medicines that you can give yourself and offer yourself. Take the vacation, plan the getaway, take the
Absolutely.
day off, take the drive. I know gas is high right now. Take the Uber, take whatever you can take, but make time for you where you turn
Mm-hmm.
off everything. And sometimes you got to turn off people, you got to turn off family, you got to turn off
Yes.
friends. And yes, I love the church. God knows, people, if anybody tells you any different, I'm in church every week, a whole bunch. However, there are times I have to turn off the church. I don't turn
Mm-hmm.
off God, because when
Mm-hmm.
I'm turning off the church, I got to pray to Him about the church. I got to turn them off. Not today,
Absolutely.
because my mind can only have but so much with so many different things going on. And so self-care is the best thing that you can do for yourself. That's the best gift that you can give yourself, even if it's just a walk. Even if it's just putting on your favorite music, putting your headphones on and rocking out for an hour. I ain't talking to
Mm.
nobody. I'm not dealing with nobody. I'm just gonna do this because this is what I am. And this is who I am. And you have to be ready to do that and accept it. And it's okay. It's okay to miss stuff, be absent from things, to make sure that you're taking care of you.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, y'all.
It's okay.
It's okay. Take care of yourself.
And yes,
Uh,
you can miss a Sunday from preaching at church. It's gonna be all right. If they if,
Yep.
if they gone when you get back, guess what? They won't with you from the beginning.
There you go.
Take a Sunday, okay? Take a Monday. Take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're going to lose out on your salvation from one service, you ain't got salvation.
It's
Mm-mm.
crazy you say that, Mrs. It's crazy you say that because here at Culture Worship, we take one Sunday off every month. We take a Sunday off every month to deal with us building one another and just taking a break to get it together. And they said I was crazy for doing it. But thank you, man, for confirming. It's okay to take one Sunday off out the month and get it together.
Absolutely.
So
I'm
yeah,
telling you,
Absolutely.
because the people, they don't want to tell you, but they get tired.
they
And I
get
know
tired.
mine get
Yes,
tired. I just look at them and I'm like, I love you so much, but I know they tired, because we operate on a different type of fuel as it relates to church. We can sit there for
yes.
hours, get up
I was.
next morning, go right back at it and sit there. We are in it, but people that work in jobs, they have all different types of responsibilities. But we have a different oil for that. But we have to
Mm,
understand that everybody doesn't
I
have the
can't
same
work.
level
Yep.
of oil that we
Mm-hmm.
got
Mm-mm.
for that.
That's
And
right.
so they tired. They're loyal, they're committed, but they're tired. And so we gotta get. I'm like, all I want, y'all go on vacation, be gone on a Sunday. Don't all y'all go on the same Sunday. That's my rule.
Right. Yeah.
Please don't leave me by myself. But
Yep.
take that time. Don't show up. Don't be there. You don't gotta open up this week. And those are the
Absolutely.
type of things that you want to make sure that you're taking care of your folks too, because they can get burned out. Because that moment, that moment you walk in the church and they're in there, and that's the one that's working and doing the most. You're wondering what's going on in their mind. They're mad, they're frustrated, they're overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
All of these different types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, even the strongest people need a break,
Mm.
Eat
Absolutely.
up, break.
Absolutely.
and even in the
Thank
church.
even in the church. Thank you for addressing that, because I think that's one of my pet peeves, is that self-care is so important. Uh, People are not going to care for you like you care for you.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
will drag you, they will drive you, use you up until you fall out, you done had a stroke, you 6 feet under, and they go on to the next person. uh,
Mhm.
Mm.
you are responsible for you. uh,
Mm-hmm.
Again, Dr. Natasha Lewis has been our guest on the Truth Uncensored, and I believe you heard some real truths on tonight
Yeah.
about mental health. Her book is The Battle We Misunderstood. And
Yes.
yes, mental health is a part that we don't understand. We've misunderstood. Our forefathers didn't understand. They couldn't read. They couldn't write. They couldn't. They didn't have the literature to read and understand. But we are farther than that, and we have more knowledge, and we understand that we have to take care of our mental health just like we do our physical bodies. All right. Um, Bishop, you have any closing remarks?
This has really been good. I was sitting here thinking, and I'm telling you, when the first time I didn't go to church on a Sunday, I was so nervous. I was just nervous because I was wondering, oh God, who took up the money? Who sang today? What happened? Did somebody come? Did anybody pray? You know, it was just, everything was just going through my mind. When I got back to church, everything was okay. And I just kept looking. I kept trying to find something wrong because I was accustomed to being there every single Sunday. But let me tell you, when I started taking a Sunday off here and there, and maybe get up around 11:30, put on some jeans. I'm old time Pentecost. Put on some jeans, go out and get a cone of ice cream, just ride around. There was so much to see. And I was so relaxed when the day was over. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. As trivial as it was, and all of it was free. All of it was free. I didn't have to pay for nothing. I didn't need a ride. I had my own car. I'm just riding, eating, looking, walking, shopping. I was relaxed when I got home. I felt so good when Monday got here. I wasn't, if you've had a long Sunday, if you've had those Sundays where you've had 2 and 3 services and all of them have been high, high. When Monday comes, you're just existing. But when you start living, see, you don't just live on a Sunday. You can live after Sunday. You got to learn to live after. After I realized that things would go on, I was okay. That helped me. Didn't have to go see the doctor or nothing. That helped me. Just take some time for yourself. I'm taking some time this week, FYI.
All right. Dr. McKinney, got some closing remarks? We can't hear you. Dr. Natasha, you have any closing remarks for us?
I just want to say, at the end of the day, we continue to make sure that we overexert ourselves for everybody else. But I found out the moment that you say no, people tend to change on you. And so you make sure that you put you first. Make sure that you are prioritizing yourself, your peace and your mental, your mind and your body. You only get one. You only get one. And so you make sure that you guard it and you protect it with everything that you have in you. You can't be effective if you're falling apart.
Cannot.
You can't produce. You can't produce if you're broken and you're wounded and you're destroyed internally. It's going to eventually show externally. And so take care of you first before you take care of anybody else. When there's a plane crash, anything happens, the first thing they tell you to do is take care of you first, and then you can help someone else. And so if you're not taking care of yourself, then don't even try. Don't even bother to try to help somebody else. And if you do, just give them a phone number of who to call and how they can help. But begin to trust the process of connecting, restoring, and following up and checking on your folks. If they're not looking right, and begin to discern the sound of a cry. It's important. Every cry isn't the same, and every cry doesn't hold the same message. And so we have to begin to take the time to really be discerners and connecting with God, so that, as Bishop said earlier, so that the Holy Spirit can lead us and guide us in how to connect and help the next person. Thank you, Pastor Irma. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Dr. Sean. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Natasha. Again, she has the book, The Battle We Misunderstood. You can buy it on Amazon. It's very affordable. So get the book so we can learn how to help one another to a healthy mental state. We want everybody to be healthy, not only in their physical bodies, but also mentally. God bless you. Thank you for joining the Truth Uncensored on tonight. And we'll be back on the second Wednesday next month with another topic to discuss. Thank you again, Dr. Natasha Lewis.
Bless you.
Amen. We
Amen.
thank you for being with us on today. God bless you, Bishop. God bless you, Dr. Sean McKinney, as
God
well.
bless you all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.